Don't you know you might find so cutting?
Satan, did you get it right this time?
Sorry, Dean.
For me, if you had got on with Brian, I would have nominated Brian probably quite a few weeks.
Helen is desperate to talk about Paul. She's showing the classic signs of lovesickness.
Day 58, 10:03 a.m. Last night, Paul became the 7th housemate to be evicted from the Big Brother house. Helen has spent a night in his bed. Elizabeth is the only housemate up.
This is Big Brother. The storeroom is now open.
.12:01 p.m. Brian and Helen are still in bed. Elizabeth is washing up. Dean comes to the diary room to talk to Big Brother.
Hello, Dean.
Afternoon.
Do you think Paul's departure's affected the house?
I think it's definitely... it'll affect Helen. Because they got on so well. Paul didn't get on as well with us, the rest of us, obviously. But he didn't... I don't think he said himself he didn't really gel with anyone in here.
Now that you are in the final week of Big Brother, are you thinking about who will win?
I think Brian will win. And if it's not Brian, I think it'll be Helen. She's got that kind of shining innocence and uncomplicated, genuine goodness about her.
Do you want to win next week?
It would surprise me, but in a really good way. And I don't know if I'd feel a little embarrassed if I won. I think I'd feel a little embarrassed if I won. But I don't think that'll happen, so there you go.
After 8 weeks of nominations and evictions, only 4 housemates remain. In the final week, the public will decide who ultimately wins. Brian, Dean and Elizabeth have never faced the public before because they've always been popular in the house. This is because they have fulfilled essential roles. Dean is leader, Elizabeth is provider, and Brian is the entertainer. Others have wanted these roles for themselves, but they were never really successful. This is because, in their individual ways, Brian, Dean and Elizabeth were always the best. They triumphed over the competition. Dean's rival was Stuart. As the 2 oldest people in the house, the group instinctively deferred to them, and both could have been the leader. Now, Dean was happy to let Stuart take the lead in the early tasks.
Stuart, do you want to be in charge of setting this up? Like, tell everyone what to do, because otherwise everyone's going to pile in.
Please.
You know what I mean? All right. Okay.
However, the group weren't so happy because Stuart tended to overstep the mark, and his leadership focused on correction and discipline.
Hang on, stop.
Sorry, I was really bossy.
Yeah, you've got to get your goggle things on.
Please hurt yourself.
In stressful situations, Dean's focus tended to be on comfort rather than correction.
We've lost it and it's all my fault.
Hang on, it's not your fault, darling.
Hey, don't cry.
Honestly, it's not.
He was confident enough to lead without dominating.
Don't cry, come on.
Elizabeth's competition came from Penny. They were both seen as potential mother figures. The kitchen became disputed territory. When Penny was in there, she was seen as bossy and dictatorial.
Before you do that, I want a bit of salt. Find me some salt. Find me the salt. Elizabeth, go and find salt now.
Elizabeth, however, was able to take charge of the kitchen without antagonising anyone. This was because she was able to encourage rather than dictate.
I'm a good kitchen assistant.
You are.
And sauce maker.
Not just assistant, you do really well. What have you learnt
Did you
today
get
about
that,
making
guys?
sauces?
So you put onion and garlic into...
Brian's competition came from Bubble. These two were both very funny and became good friends. Humour, however, often relies on getting close to the bone.
You and Bubble, you're as manky as each other. You standing here, you can't even straighten it properly. You've washed it once since you've been here.
Game, set, match.
Thank you.
Brian is good at this, but Bubble sometimes goes too far and people don't always know when he's joking.
You are fucking dead, man. Do you know how angry I am with you? Do you know how angry I am? Look, she just told me everything about it. You'll fucking regret it.
Bollocks, Bubble, it's not fair. Jokes work two ways. Did you think he was serious?
Oh, I fucking did.
Yeah, whatever.
Even though they made a great comedy duo, Bubble ultimately realised who was the funnier man.
You are the funniest man I've ever met. And I've at least been locked up in a house away from my family and from my friends and from my little gal. You have made this a lot easier for me. Your star.
Up until now, it's been the housemates' perception of their roles that have determined their fate in the house. Suddenly, that's all changed, and they no longer have a say. What's important now is what the public thinks.
1:30 p.m. The group discuss hallucinogenic drugs.
Magic mushrooms are tiny. They've got
Really long.
thin,
Like
long and thin, and then they've got little hats. They're like little hats on them.
You can't eat them.
Pointy hats.
The worst one I had, well, the only hallucination I've ever had, was I was talking to my friend, and he just turned into like this goblin. His face just went.
Oh, can you still see it now?
What?
Can you still remember it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It just morphed. You know, like
It's wild, isn't it?
Like science fiction.
Yeah.
He just went. His nose came out. His ears went like that. Points.
Really?
Had no hair. His hair just went. Wah, and his face was just this old.
Was it scary?
Being scared? No.
Things could turn into rats and snakes
Yeah.
and demons.
No,
People.
worse things. Just
Things you can't imagine.
fantasy things. More like it's not like you see a rat. It's like
The
it
devil.
might be the devil dressed as a rat with worms coming out of his stomach.
Have you tried it, Helen?
It messes
No,
your
Me
brain.
neither. Would you?
Yeah.
No.
Me neither. What can you take that you won't have any hallucinations on?
Sorry?
Do all drugs give you hallucinations?
No, no. Not all drugs.
No.
But a lot of them can. The best thing to do with drugs is just not take any, to be honest.
Okay, Helen, should we start?
2:18 p.m. The housemates are set their final weekly task. For the next 4 days, they'll be tested on how well they know each other. Today, they must choose a partner and learn about one another's childhoods.
So who's your best friend at secondary school?
Oh, I didn't really have. I didn't really have one best friend. I had like lots of big group of girlfriends.
Okay, so we
But I
don't know
suppose
about
in
any
a-
of those then.
No,
Going
there's
all
too
there
many.
now.
No, I was at school. I was kind of captain of a lot of sports teams.
Oh yeah.
I was captain of hockey, captain of netball, of athletics. I was deputy head girl, but that's after 16. So I just kind of knew a lot of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just kind of knew a lot of people.
Yeah.
Never smoked.
No.
Just was probably like you, quite sporty. Didn't smoke.
Okay, go.
Okay, you should think along the lines of facts about school. What school did you go to?
I went to 2 schools. 3 schools.
Oh, you never, you arse!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Went to 3 schools.
What are the names?
St. Mary's Convent School.
St Mary's Convent School.
St. Patrick's Boys National School.
Oh, for Christ, St Patrick's Boys National School.
And I went to senior school.
What was that called?
It was called Rathangan, where I live.
Rathangan.
Rathangan Post-Primary School.
Rathangan Post-Primary.
School.
Okay, I went to 2 schools. One called Durham Road.
Durham Road.
Durham Road.
Durham Road.
And one called St Julian's.
Oh, Jesus. Think of Julian Clary.
Yeah.
Eating habits.
I was very fussy.
Right.
Mother thought because of my eating habits I was going to be anorexic when I was in my teens. I was quite
Really?
very thin. You wouldn't think it now.
You fat bleeder.
Amusing anecdotes. What's that mean?
Things you can remember from the ages 5 to 16 that are funny.
Oh, I can remember one funny thing. I think it was either sausages or fish fingers. I can't remember which one it was. My mum said I had to eat them and I didn't. I threw them across the living room.
Okay.
I was really, but between 5, yeah, I suppose 15 and 16, I was really into, you know, punk rock, new wave, band, you know, Sex Pistols, probably.
He was kind of non-conformist anarchist, so Sex Pistols.
Yeah, kind of loud,
punk and rock.
loud, annoying music when I was 5, 15, 16, so that age.
And I've always liked Mozart, because my father always listens to it.
Right. Even as a kid.
But yeah, that's what he listened to.
Right.
Never listened to anything else.